And good morning at 7:04 on this Tuesday, November 29th. It's time for Coleman and Company. We're going to go to Studio B with Billy Goodman, Sam Hatcher, and Eric Moses. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Coleman is running a little bit late. I believe he's coming down the driveway right there. Anyway, this morning on Coleman and Company, we're going to have a little discussion about the man who has been running the Nashville Superspeedway for the past couple of years, Eric Moser, and he's here, and Sam Hatcher is here, and they're going to talk about something. Tell us what we're talking about today, Eric.
Well, I'll sort of say that this was Eric's idea because Eric came here just over 2 years ago as president of the Nashville Superspeedway, and he actually began his public appearances, I guess you might say, with WANT radio. It was one of the first stops he made, and Eric said, you know, as I conclude this round in Wilson County with the Super Speedway, I'd like to go back to WANT and just sort of tell folks about the experience I've had in Wilson County and where I'm going from here. And as many know and have read, I'm sure that Eric will be leaving us and will become the new CEO of the Fiesta Bowl. So Coleman was kind enough to ask us both to come back, and Coleman has now walked into the studio. I think he was behind a school bus, perhaps.
I was going to feel bad if he hadn't shown up because my first time here, Coleman wasn't here, and Paul Stum interviewed me. So if he wasn't here my last time, I maybe wouldn't leave. I might have to just stay.
Well, I get in my car, and the battery won't turn over at all, so I had to back it up. It's on an incline, so to back a little bit, enough to go back in the house, get Helen Ski, get her car, and I'm here about a minute late. So it's not too bad.
Oh, no, you're good. Well, you're actually in great shape.
But it's good to see you both. And Eric, I'd forgotten the first time you were on, it was with Dr. Stum.
That's right.
I certainly remember you, and you have made an indelible imprint in our community the time you've been here, without a doubt.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate
But Sam, I thought since you were going to be here, you could probably ask most of the questions today anyway.
Well, you know, Eric and I have become really good friends in the 2 years that he's been here, and I've been so impressed. I thought about this morning as I was getting dressed to come out, but, you know, I don't know anyone who has come to Lebanon or come to Wilson County as Eric did he came from Washington, D.C. here, spent 2 years here, but he has made such an impression on people locally. And when I say locally, I'm talking about throughout Middle Tennessee. He's been so involved and so engaged in the community of Middle Tennessee. I'll let Eric speak to this, but he's now a member of the Coleman University Board of Trust, and I'm sure he'll be coming back and making visits back as he participates in that. But he's spoken to civic clubs. He's done so much in the community, and for that, I think we all are grateful that he came. And I would sort of like to ask Eric, if
you can ask him
with your permission. I'd sort of like
permission.
to know from him what impressions were made on him about this community.
While I am very pleased about the opportunity I have in Phoenix, Arizona, it was the hardest decision I've ever made in my professional career to decide to leave this community. A community that has embraced me in a way that I don't think I could have imagined in such a short period of time. And I'm gonna do this and try not to get emotional, but I owe most of that to the man sitting across the table, to Sam Hatcher and his family, for treating me like family as soon as I got here. You know, there's so many people that I can name that have made this feel just like home immediately, and I think that's the part that I will miss the most.
One advantage of knowing Sam Hatcher would be the opportunity for him to introduce you to
everyone,
plethora of friends and acquaintances, and people he has rubbed elbows with over the years, being in the newspaper business especially. If nothing else, he had their phone number and name probably.
It hadn't hurt me, that's for sure. Yeah, it hadn't hurt. All I have to say is, yeah, Sam Hatcher told me to give you a call, and I'm usually met with a very enthusiastic greeting.
So when will you actually be leaving?
So my last day at the Superspeedway is Friday. I probably won't relocate until the end of January. It's going to take me a while to find a place to live and everything and wind down here.
For our listeners who don't know, and I understand you are going to operate a big football bowl game, but other than that, what will this really be? What's your job title, description?
Sure.
You going to be the man totally in charge? Is what, the Fiesta Bowl?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we refer to it as the Fiesta Bowl organization. The Fiesta Bowl has been around for over 50 years. Started as a way to bring tourist dollars into Arizona and, frankly, to get Arizona State and some of the teams that played in Arizona opportunities to play in bowl games because they continually got excluded from bowl games for East Coast teams and others. And so they created their own bowl in order to make certain that ASU had an opportunity to advance in postseason. So I will be running a fairly large nonprofit. We'll have about 35 or so employees. We're responsible for putting on 2 bowl games. The first is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, which is a Big 12, Big 10 matchup at Chase Field, which is the Arizona Diamondbacks stadium downtown Phoenix. That's on the 27th. And then on the 31st is the Fiesta Bowl. And this year we're part of the college football playoff system. So we will either have the number 1 versus the number 4 team or the number 2 versus the number 3 team and help to determine who will be college football's national champion.
Will you have a part in that, or is somebody else really in charge?
So here's a good reporter knows the right questions to ask. So here's the great thing about it. There's an interim executive director right now in place, and so he will get us through this season. I have an opportunity to observe the staff and see how people operate and see if there are areas that we need to enhance or things that are working well. And the great thing is, if something goes wrong, I get to blame him, and if things go right, I'll take the credit. Yeah. So
what a difference. Now, Coleman won't say this, but it was in the Fiesta Bowl where the University of Tennessee won its last national championship.
That's right, 1999.
Coleman is somewhat of a Vanderbilt fan, so he won't want to speak to that.
Well, I remember that one. This is quite a change for you, isn't it? Have you been this involved in sports or in football in particular before?
Yeah, in fact, I have. I helped to launch and develop a bowl game in Washington, D.C. as a sports commissioner there. It's called the Military Bowl, and it's going into its 15th year of existence. Also launched another college football game called the AT&T Nations Football Classic, which is a HBCU classic game, also in Washington, D.C. And then, as you know, I ran an XFL professional football team in Washington. So in some ways, it's getting back to my roots in terms of football, a sport, as I said to Sam before we came on air, that I know far more about even than NASCAR, even now. But my NASCAR knowledge will continue to grow because I am a fan at this point and will always be one.
Well, we are no doubt going to miss you. Has somebody been designated to take your place?
Yeah, and I appreciate you asking. My VP of operations, Matt Grieche, who came to us from Charlotte Motor Speedway, was just announced last night as my replacement. And so Matt is a great operator. He's someone who has been in the motorsports industry for all of his career, I believe. And so I think the super speed will be well served with his leadership.
And everything is good. Nothing's changed in the schedule for next year.
No, everything is
full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead, as I've told all of our partners and stakeholders. Everything is moving along the way that it has. I am proud to have been able to help bring this place back and set I think, a really firm foundation for the growth of Nashville Superspeedway going into the future.
Sam, you got a question here before we go to the break?
Well, I think I would really like to sort of hear more from Eric about maybe some of the impressions that were left on him about the community. I'd love to hear, as someone that's moved here from Washington, D.C., I'd just love to hear what impressed him about Lebanon or about Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, I would say for all of Middle Tennessee, I expected I expected this place to be much more closed off and much more provincial is the term I would use. Whereas, I wasn't from here and you didn't know my parents or grandparents, or I wasn't a known entity, that it would take longer for people to get to know people and for them to open up to you. And that hadn't been the case. And I found all throughout Middle Tennessee, the belief seems to be, if you are someone who can bring value to this community, if you're trying to do good things, then you will be invited in and you will be embraced. And so if you're talented and capable, if you have a good business idea or whatever it is, or you treat people well, people will be open to you. And that has been refreshing. And it's something I think is a quality that will continue to serve Middle Tennessee. That's why you'll continue to see businesses move here. You'll continue to see individuals move here from all over the country, because it's a great place to live because of the people.
One of the first things, I don't know what the break time is, but one of the first things Eric did when he moved here, he went and registered to vote. I think within a week, he went and registered to vote, which said a lot to me about somebody that was wanting to get involved in the community, and he lived in Wilson County. And he said he wanted to live in Wilson County because that's where the racetrack is. It's in Wilson County.
Okay. Well, Eric Moses, Sam Hatcher are here, and this is Coleman and Company, but let me say our program each Tuesday presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital here on FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $49.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. As traffic volume increases quite a bit, actually the normal spots for this time of the morning on 24 westbound leaving Rutherford County up through the Hickory Hollow area. It's already busy and a little bit tricky right there. We're watching it on 24 east at Whites Creek Pike in the Jolton area. Watching that starting to bunch up pretty good. Here comes that steady flow of traffic out of Wilson County down the interstate headed into the Hermitage area. Prince's Hot Chicken is catering this holiday season. Check out the menu today at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
This week, the Titans head back out on the road to face the red-hot Philadelphia Eagles. We get you ready with Titans Countdown, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans at 11. Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis bring every snap of action. Kickoff happens at noon.
Brought to you by Fakes and Hooker, Bates Ford, Steve Mall Plumbing, The Jewelers, and the City of Lebanon Gas and Tennessee 811. Call before you dig.
This is Wilson County's home for real country music and the Tennessee Titans. Real Country 98.9.
You've changed thousands of diapers, cut off hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck goose because you'd do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Jeff Gannon, and we'll help you make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family, no matter what the future holds, because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call me, State Farm agent Jeff Gannon in Lebanon or Mount Juliet today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And we continue here on a Tuesday morning. Again, our program presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And we want to just remind you again of some reasons why you should choose Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Their comprehensive services, their recognized care, their commitment to the community, and, of course, their primary stroke center. It's an accredited stroke center that meets strict national standards that support better outcomes for stroke care, treatment, rehabilitation, and recovery, and their robotic-assisted joint replacement. It's one of the first hospitals in Tennessee to offer robotic-assisted total and partial knee and total hip replacement surgery. This advanced technology for total and partial knee and total hip replacement surgery offers a new option for those with chronic knee and hip pain. There are a lot more reasons, and we know they have made so many improvements, spent millions of dollars to give us better health care. Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital right here, Lebanon, Tennessee. All right, again with me, if you're just joining us, Eric Moses is here with his swan song on Coleman and Company, at least, for a Tuesday morning. Sam Hatcher has joined him. In fact, Sam, the first time that Eric was on the program here, it was because of your suggestion, and we appreciate that. I think the two of you became friends just almost immediately upon Eric's arrival, or maybe the first time he even set foot in Wilson County.
That's exactly right. And I know we made a lot of visits together initially, and I think we sort of met each other over the telephone and probably had a nice 30-minute conversation over the telephone. And I will sort of say this, since Eric's leaving, I probably wouldn't say that if he was staying, but one of the first meetings we had, he started talking a little bit about North Carolina basketball, and I had to remind him that we were all Big Orange fans here and not necessarily Tar Heel fans. And so, he had a little trouble getting that out of his system, I think. He sees blue everywhere he goes.
I got some orange in my closet now, and some black and gold,
Well, you do know a little bit about political correctness.
I do indeed.
A matter of fact, and Eric may speak that one of his good friends is the Vanderbilt basketball coach.
Yeah,
And,
Jerry Stackhouse followed me at North Carolina. He's a great friend and a great coach, and hopefully can get that program headed in the right direction in a difficult SEC conference. But we Tar Heels are everywhere. We're everywhere.
Well, now you must have followed sports in more than one throughout your life. Do you have a favorite? Is football your favorite necessarily?
Yeah, I think I'm like the rest of America. I mean, football is America's #1 sport by far. Professional football followed by college football, and then frankly everything else in terms of ratings and attendance and revenues, et cetera. But I've always loved, I love sports, all sports. And what always fascinated me, frankly, was the business of sports. I always wanted to understand how deals got done, whether that was a new collective bargaining agreement between a players association and a league, or whether it was an endorsement deal for a particular player, or whether it was an endorsement deal for a league, a uniform deal like Nike has with the NFL. I always wanted to understand how those things got done, and so that's really what propelled me into sports as a vocation.
Have you participated in such deals, negotiations, or so on?
Yeah, many over my career, and I'm hoping there will be many more in this new role.
What is the biggest challenge, at least that you foresee as you step forward here to the Fiesta Bowl? What's the biggest challenge for you personally?
It's a great question. I mean, aside from leaving this community, the biggest challenge really is going to be making certain that we are able to keep the Fiesta Bowl as one of the most prominent, if not the most prominent and well-respected bowl in the college football bowl system. The college sports landscape is changing right now. College football landscape is changing right now. We're trying to expand the college football playoff from 4 teams to 12 teams, renegotiate television contracts. Bowl games are jockeying for position for quarterfinals and semifinals. The national championship now is put out for bid, essentially like the Super Bowl or the All-Star game and other sports. And so in the midst of all of that, we need to make certain that this 50-plus year tradition in the Valley of the Sun continues, and that people, teams, coaches, athletic directors, alumni know that they're going to get world-class hospitality in Phoenix. They're going to get world-class accommodations, and they're going to get some pretty great weather in December out in the Phoenix area. And so that's going to be making certain that we stay prominent while things are changing around us is probably the biggest challenge.
Sam?
I'd like to, or would you be a fan of an expanded playoff system for the college football?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we all know the effect that March Madness has had on the country from every respect. And I think football is harder to do that with, but going from 4 teams, which was never in my mind enough, to 12 teams, I think is about the right balance. How we go about doing that is important. The bowls have such rich history in this country that getting rid of that bowl system, I think, would be a big mistake. I mean, we call the NFL World Championship the Super Bowl because there are bowl games in college, and that that seemed like the right thing to call it. It's another bowl game, but it's the biggest. It's the Super Bowl. So I think we need to go as far as we can to protect that system.
What time frame you see? If that, and I don't think it's any question we're headed that way, because and like you said, the average person is going to agree 4 is not enough.
Yeah, it'll happen likely by 2024. They'll move to 12. I think the contract, the television contract, is up, I believe, in 2026, and so at the latest it would be 2026. But I think the CFP is working right now to try to, with the college presidents, to see if they can move to 2024.
Well, another thing that has changed is really, I don't know that they use these words, but pay for play.
Yeah,
it's a whole different college scenario now.
Yeah, the NIL, or name, image, and likeness payments to athletes now muddies the waters some, and don't misunderstand me. I think players should be able to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. I think they should have been able to do that for decades now. And I think the reason that that college sports is dealing with kind of what feels like a Wild West atmosphere is because the NCAA waited too long in order to allow these young men and women the opportunity to benefit some financially off of their skills, their talents, their ability, and their popularity.
Do you anticipate any, I'm just full of what ifs here and thinking out loud, you might say, policing this? Is there going to be some problems down the line to keep this in line?
Yeah, it's difficult because the NCAA doesn't currently have the staffing necessary to do that at I don't know, 130 plus member schools. There has been some discussion about college football leaving the NCAA and setting up its own governing body to police itself, which could work. I mean, I don't know enough to really opine in any educated way about that, but it does seem like it needs a kind of focus that a separate governing organization might be able to offer.
Well, as we say, stay tuned.
Stay tuned, for sure.
I learned something from Eric shortly before we came in, and you may know this, Coleman, but I didn't realize that in the college football rankings, the number one team gets to select the bowl to go to. It can either go to the Fiesta Bowl or go to the Peach Bowl.
This year.
Mm-hmm. And I just assumed that was designated beforehand, but that's up to the number one team to make that selection.
Yeah, so if Georgia ends up staying number one, they'll likely choose the Peach Bowl because it's in their home state. And then that would mean the Peach Bowl would have the number one team versus the number 4 team. In the Fiesta Bowl, we'd end up having the number 2 versus the number 3 team.
Well, it's not exactly set in stone, but most people pretty much have the idea who the 4 are going to be. And it's an interesting time, of course, and I got to say, until somebody knocks off Georgia, I feel like they're number one.
Yeah, they keep reminding us that they are Georgia.
This is true.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, again, if you joined us late, Eric Moses is with us along with Sam Hatcher this morning, and Eric is heading off to the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona. Yes. You'll be living there as of, what, first of the year or shortly thereafter?
Yeah, probably by the end of January.
What's the biggest thing you're going to miss from Wilson County, Tennessee? Well, Middle Tennessee. You've been all over.
Yeah, definitely the people. I have gotten, one of the first lessons that Sam taught me before I got here was that I could not say Lebanon as I was in the habit of saying, as most people referring to the country, I had to say Lebanon, and so I picked that one up as quickly as I could. So by the time I landed here, I had it down. So little sayings like that, the way things are pronounced, I find that charming about the South, and I love it. I love the fact that people talk about having supper. I love those little things. So I think I will miss that a great deal.
Well, it's our way of life is we have our own little ways of doing things and ways we say things, and it is a little bit different, I suppose, from anywhere else in the country. And you seem to have accepted that really well.
I'm a son of the South. I was born in North Carolina, educated there, so I'm a son of the South. That I love that part about it, and but it was great to be able to live in a place where I could hear those things every day, and I got to actually say some of them and use them as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with us this morning, and Sam, appreciate you being here, and we've got a minute to go. So,
Can I get a point of personal privilege?
Sure.
I had a lot of people that I want to thank, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Who have made my time here really special. And it starts with Sam and Teresa Hatcher and their entire family, Kara Sprouse, Kaylin Dennis, Sonia Robinson, Paul and Christy Stum, Susie Annette James, John McDearman, Mayor Hutto, Sheriff Bryan, Laura Daly, Andy White, Sabrina Say, Bob McDonald, John Bryan, the folks at the Glade Diner who always treat me so well, Veronica and Larry Bender, Mayor Bell and Sarah Haston, WP and Mitchell Bone, Melanie Mentor, and the folks at the Wilson County Chamber, Scott McCarver and Tracy Pope over at Vanderbilt Medical, Tom Nelson, Jeff Peterson, the Lebanon Chamber, Gerard Bullock, Mark Hinesley in the Mount Juliet Chamber, G.C. Hickson, Curtis Sutton and Michelle Boykin at Rackley Roofing, Scott Hunt and Julie Whittington at Hunt Brothers, Deb Varallo, Reverend Ryan Bennett, Larry Woody at the Wilson Post, Wilson County Sports Authority, Coleman Walker, and the folks here at WANTFM.
well, thank you so much, and I'm sure every name you mentioned there is going to appreciate the mention and going to miss you being part of their life.
Oh, likewise. Thank you.
Sam, thank you for all of this, and it's good to see you always. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you,
And
Coleman.
Eric, you're ever back this way, let us know. We would welcome you back to the seat here.
I appreciate it.
That is part one of Coleman and Company, presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Stay with us for more here on FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford. Get a battery installed on most vehicles, $134.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. I'm looking at a crash, 65 southbound. It's going to be just before Trinity Lane. It's aggravating all that traffic, especially coming down out of Madison. On 65 southbound over here at Trinity Lane as we check it out live. Traffic's on the increase side, 40 through Wilson County, a little bit of radar through Dixon County this morning on the interstate. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. Princess Hot Chicken is catering this holiday season. Log on to princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
At Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, world-class care is a heartbeat away. In fact, we offer the same world-class attention Middle Tennessee has come to rely on from a Vanderbilt Health hospital. Supported by over 200 specialties, an expanded emergency department staffed with Vanderbilt Health physicians 24/7, and greater investments in life-saving technologies and care. It's just one more way we're making healthcare personal.
Hi, I'm Mayor Rick Bell,
And I'm Sarah Haston, your Economic Development Director for the City of Lebanon.
and we're asking each of you to shop Lebanon this Christmas season.
Are you ready for the hustle and bustle, Mayor?
Absolutely, 'tis the season, and I'm ready to get everyone checked off my list by shopping Lebanon and shopping small.
Well, it's definitely important to support our Lebanon business community.
Indeed, our Lebanon businesses are the backbone of our community, and they support us all year.
That's right. Let's show some local love at Christmas. We are asking everyone to commit to give back by shopping your local retailers here in Lebanon.
Have a Merry Christmas from all of us at the City of Lebanon.
Contact Stephen Lowry Land Clearing for all your land clearing needs, whether it's clearing trails for ATVs, reclaiming pasture, or clearing your land of brush and trees. Stephen Lowry can get the job done. He works closely with customers, adjusting to make changes as you want. Steve Lowry will give you quality work at a price that you could afford. He will also beat any written estimate. Call Stephen Lowry at 615-970-8154 for all your land clearing needs. That's Stephen Lowry Land Clearing, 615-970-8154.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Mentor, President and CEO of the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
We are tracking rain chances to arrive later in the day, so you could be looking at a stormy drive home. Look for a high of 66 today, falling to 53 overnight. Now those showers and thunderstorms stick with us through Wednesday morning.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company here on a Tuesday morning. We are joined by Sean Dozier, Executive Director of Hearthside Senior Living. And Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. It's good to be here. It's good to pass by and see Eric and Sam Hatcher. He's done a great job out at the Super Speedway. Hate to see him leave.
Yeah. Well, he's been a hit here.
He has.
He's done a wonderful job.
He has, and I congratulate him on his new position.
But I think you're doing a wonderful job at Hearthside Senior Living.
Well,
you're
thank you.
Just about full in your
Coleman, we are
your
full.
assisted living. You are full.
We are full. We're full in our assisted living. We're full in our independent living, and we do have a waiting list going in our assisted living. Of course, we have our long waiting list in our independent living, but that just shows you that our product has been well received, and the way that we serve people, I think, is a testament to our staff, and people want to be a part of our family when they need that service. You know, it's this time of year, a lot of people visit relatives, and they may say, hey, we want to start at least checking out over the next maybe 3-6 months, maybe a year, assisted living's in town. And so if you are thinking about assisted living in the future for a relative or maybe for yourself, Hearthside Senior Living, our assisted living is one option in town that would be worth your time to visit and take a tour and see what we have to offer. I was there Friday for a little while, Coleman, and we had a couple from Danville, Kentucky. They were here visiting their son, and they stopped by as a couple and said, hey, in the next 6 months to a year, we're thinking about selling our house and moving into an assisted living. And I showed them around and showed them our services, and they said, well, how much extra is your meals? I said, well, that's included in the price. Then they said, well, you didn't mention your med management. I mean, how much does it cost for the nurse to give out your medicine? I said, well, that's included in the price. And they said, well, what about snacks? What about activities? I said, it's all included in one price. And they really were shocked about that. And they looked at the price and they looked back at me. They looked at the price. They looked back at me, and they said, this is fantastic. So they got on our waiting list. You know, they're not ready right now, but in the next 6 months to a year, they see it coming, and they want to at least have their name on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like that. And Hearthside has been around since 1994. It started out as a ministry. We still consider it a ministry to serve families here in Wilson County and beyond, and we're doing just that.
Well, I think the thing about it, these people are doing what really they should do, get your name on the list here, even though you're not ready. And when an opening comes, if you're not ready, you're not obligated,
right.
But you're there, you got your foot in the door, so
That's
to
right,
speak.
and it's good to get to know the folks that are going to be serving you. You know, we have people all the time say, hey, can I come by for lunch, or can I attend an activity, just so I can kind of get acclimated to the building and to the staff. And that really does help residents when they finally do move in, really assimilate very, very well. And, I tell people all the time, and families, they get nervous about, will mom do well, will dad do well? I tell them, just give them a week. They get their medication timely, they get 3 meals a day, they get 2 activities a day where they're socializing with other people, plus the 3 meals where they're at a table with other people. And it's amazing how, again, people assimilate so quickly to assisted living. I think they really enjoy it. A lot of them have been by themselves for quite some time, or they've been in a large home, or they've been so busy taking care of their home they haven't had time to socialize. And so once they, get in a community like that, they really do have the time to socialize, have the time to eat appropriately, have the time to attend the activities. So it really does make a difference in their lives, and they can live that season of their life in just a positive way.
Okay, are you ready for a Hearthside Hello?
Well, it's a sad Hearthside Hello. I wanted to just spend just a minute here giving our sympathy to the family of Tina Winfrey. Tina's mom is at Hearthside, and she's going to be well taken care of. But Tina, when she walked in Hearthside every day, literally, she lit up our community and did so many things, not just for her mom, but for other residents. And I know she was with the family, of the Fair family. I know Cedar Stone, all that, but she was a part of our family too. And I wanted to give a Hearthside hello to her family, and our sympathy and our prayers are with her family this week. And just wanted to mention Tina this morning.
She touched a lot of lives.
She really did.
And was a really wonderful person.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, with that, we will say goodbye for now till
Thank you,
next
Coleman.
Tuesday. And
have a great week.
Hope you have a great one too. Sean Dozier, Executive Director, Hearthside Senior Living, Retirement Assisted Living Community at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. Their phone number is 615-443-1994. It's Hearthside when it's time for a helping hand. All right. Kim Parks is my guest. And at this time of the year, when Kim Parks is on the radio, you probably, if you're a regular listener, if you think for a minute, you probably know why she's here and what she's going to be talking about. And yes, it is that time. It's time for the Historic Places Tour. And we got the 14th annual one to talk about this morning. Kim, good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Well, good to see you as always.
So how did you get out here this morning?
Well, I'm in Helen's car.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
got
good.
A Cadillac.
You could have called me. I would have gotten here a little earlier.
I had to make tracks. This
Okay.
morning. But every once in a while, and when it's an emergency, she lets me drive.
Okay,
that Mercedes.
that's good. Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been doing this? Are you the one who started this?
No. And actually, it started the year before I came onto the Historic Lebanon Board, and Miss Pat Clymer and Kathy Adams started it. So this year's tour is dedicated to Miss Pat Clymer. You know, she passed away earlier, maybe a week or two ago. So, but they started it, and then I came on board, and I help them out with it. And so, yeah, but they're the ones that's, the first year it was in the afternoon, and then maybe the first 2 years it was in the afternoon, and then we moved it to nighttime. So,
well, does Kathy have anything to do with it anymore, really?
no, she kind of has retired from all of her civic duties, but for, you know, I call her for advice when needed, and she's always glad to lend a helping hand or ear when I need it. So,
I understand you said what you're going to say here pretty much yesterday at the
at
Kiwanis
the
Club.
Kiwanis, yes. But yesterday I had slides people could see of some photos. So today I just have to describe it in a great sort of way.
Let me say this, because I totally forgot it yesterday, and now that I think of it, I don't want to lose this opportunity today. Yesterday was Jonathan Boughton's 50th birthday. And it's my understanding, Mayor Bell proclaimed yesterday to be Jonathan Boughton Day. And anybody that knows Jonathan has got to love him.
Yes.
He's a wonderful person. One of the things we've always had to do with him, he is over at First Presbyterian Church. They have a chili meal, supper, I guess. Every year. I think it's in February, and he's already got tickets for the next one. And I think every year his goal maybe is to sell a few more than he did the year before, and it's a fundraiser. Helen and I bought tickets from him for years, and I just don't want to miss this opportunity that I did forget yesterday. I'm a day late, but happy birthday, Jonathan Boughton, and happy 50th, and many more, and it's great to have Jonathan Boughton Day.
Yes, it is.
proclaimed by
It
the
is.
mayor.
It is.
All right, 14th Annual Historic Places Tour coming up this Saturday, December 3rd, 5 to 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
And Kim, as we have pointed out here, has been doing this. Pretty much you take it on yourself with I know you have the help of other people, and especially the people who open the doors of their homes or businesses or whatever, primarily homes. And so this would be what, maybe 12 that your 12th one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, this flyer you've got here and this picture at 429 West Spring.
Yes. The Yellow House.
Whose is that?
That's Ed and Susie James' house, and we're
As
very
if I didn't
excited to have that on the tour this year. And you know, I've had people ask me, you know, when I see people out and about, they're always like, well, is so-and-so's house ever going to be on the tour? And I'm like, well, I've asked them. And sometimes it takes a little while for the idea to sink in and people to come around to it. So, so yes, I get to say yes to this, and I start asking people, well, sometimes a year ahead, sometimes at least by July. And I try to be very pleasant about it where people don't run from me when they see me in public. Oh, God, she's going to ask me again about being on the home tour. But no, people are so gracious, and we could, again, not have this fundraiser without the homeowners opening up their homes. But a lot of people have told me it gives them a very hard deadline to get some updates done to their home that they've been wanting to do. And this just gives them a really good deadline to get it done. So I appreciate everyone. And we've got some great houses on the tour this year. And I do the research, because in the tour brochure, I do a little history of each site. And so I go to the registrar's office at the courthouse and do a chain of title back to try to get it to a lot. So it really helps having an attorney as a husband who helped kind of taught me how to do that the correct way. But I love doing research. So, and doing the research on all these houses, it just kind of came to me. This year's tour tells the story of how Lebanon developed into new neighborhoods, or how Cumberland University's location created neighborhoods, and then how, the topic of today is infill everywhere. We have infill everywhere. That's not a new thing. That's been going on since the town started, people selling off their larger estate lots and smaller houses being built in it. So that story is told out through these. The first one on Spring Street, 212 Spring Street, East Spring, it sits on land where Cumberland University's first building was. And that was about 17 acres there on the corner of East Spring and now South College. And when the building burned during the Civil War, they spread out around town, but they picked a new campus in 1892. So they started selling off that land there into smaller lots. And so you have bungalow cottages that start being built in the teens and the 20s. So that develops that end of East Spring Street. And in some of those deeds, not the ones for this house, but in other houses I've researched, apparently the stonework from that university, their foundation just sat there for years. And in deeds it has, we have permission to use this stonework as our foundation in our new lot. So, I would really, I have it in my head how I think that looks, but it'd really be nice to have some photographic evidence of that. So then when Cumberland came to their present location in 1892 on, Spring Street and Greenwood and Tarver, the land across the street from them sold where 429 West Spring is. And that was bought by David Earl Mitchell and his wife, who at the time was president of Cumberland University and also the founder of Castle Heights School. And it was a large lot of land that stretched from let me get this in my head right, the west borderline of the houses that face South Hatton and went all the way to what's described as Tarver property, because the Tarver family lived there. Tarver Avenue wasn't there yet, and it was about 4 or 5 acres. And then they divided that into 6 lots. And that's what those 6 large houses are. And then the red brick house further on down came in later in like the 1940s. So they bought that land. David Earl Mitchell bought that land from Cumberland University because they had bought it as part of their new campus. So that just shows, wherever Cumberland went, people wanted to be around it and create neighborhoods. So when that land was bought, Tarver Avenue was created, and West Spring Street was extended because it didn't go that far. Oh. It ended probably around Hatton Avenue. So the deeds say the newly extended West Spring Avenue, and then they're giving land out to create Tarver Avenue. So I just find that fascinating that all those deeds show how the neighborhood's developed. And we have a house, 119 Green Lawn, and we have the plat of the Green Lawn Development Company laid out that subdivision in 1930. So I've never really thought about it this way, but that's during the Depression. They lay out this subdivision and sell off those lots. And our house is on lot number 18, and they paid $600 for it in 1933, I believe. But that was land from large family estates that faced West Main and stretched all the way to Hill Street. So they carved that out, and they created Green Lawn Drive and sold off the lots and created neighborhoods. So
Oh, what a history lesson. Well, we're a little bit past time for a break now. How many do you have?
We have 8 sites.
All right, okay. We're going to try to at least give the name of each one of these 8 when we come back. Kim Parks is here, the 14th Annual Historic Places Tour. More coming up here on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And at 7:49, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota High Performance, High Horsepower, 0% financing is still a thing. Now is the best time to save on new Kubota L-Series tractors rated #1 for durability and owner experience in the U.S. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still heavy out here coming through Mount Juliet as expected through Wilson County this time of the morning. 65 once again a little bit heavy southbound. Coming down through parts of Robertson County. 65 still looks good up through Brentwood and Franklin. They're still working that wreck at Murfreesboro Pike at Dale Parkway. That's right over there near the airport. I can still see the flashing lights. Nash Painting Services all of Middle Tennessee. If you want it done right, you'll call these guys, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
The refreshing cool after coming in from a hot summer day. The perfect temperature to kick off your shoes and relax with a good book. When the weather heats up, a new Rheem AC system will surround your family in total comfort. Are you feeling it? Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Middle Tennessee's largest, longest running, and most affordable holiday tradition, the Dancing Lights of Christmas, is now open with new lights and new music so you can create some new Christmas memories. For 2.5 miles, your family will be captivated as you watch over 2 million lights dance perfectly in sync to rockin' Christmas tunes, all from inside the comfort of your own vehicle. Stop by Santa's Village for food and fun, pictures with Santa, even a helicopter ride above the lights. 5 p.m. nightly at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. More info at thedancinglightsofchristmas.com.
Company, thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. Kim Parks is with us. Historic Places Tour coming up this Saturday, December 3rd, 5 to 8:30. And if you get tickets in advance, they're $15 for the tour. Excuse me. $20 if you wait till the night
of.
tour. Now, you're going to go over each one of these places
Okay.
a little bit for us, and I'm not going to say much. But when we get through, we'll kind of wrap it up again and remind everybody. But what's this money go for, by the way?
This is a fundraiser for Historic Lebanon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so this helps us with our just operational cost. It helps us just to,
And this
you
is
know.
something you love. You love to come up with these homes, especially ones that haven't been visited before, and that people want to see the history that's involved in, and you come out from it so much from a historical aspect.
Yes, that's
Being the history buff and local history buff that you are.
That
Okay,
helps
I'm
me
gonna let-
understand.
We've got 8 minutes, and
Okay.
take off.
All right, so we have 8 sites this year and 1 feature. The 6 are homes, 2 are museums. The Wilson County Veterans Museum and the Fight Fesden House Museum are on the tour this year, so make sure you stop by. Lots of local history at those. And then the houses, 212 East Spring Street, 133 South Greenwood Street. And let me talk about that one just a little bit. The Habitat Restore has helped furnish this house, appliances, trim work, lighting, the Christmas decorations. So they have been really involved in it, and it just really shows how you can use their restore to when you're doing a rehabilitation of a house, and it saves you money, it helps them out, and so this is going to be a really good example. And that's at 133 South Greenwood. It's a little cottage there on the corner. And then 429 West Spring Street, 128 South Tarver, which is a little cottage across the street from 429. And that one has, I'll come back to it. And then 119 Green Lawn Drive And then Pop's Coffee Shop at 517 West Main is going to be open during the tour, so you can stop by there and purchase some coffee or tea or muffins or cookies and see their great adaptive reuse of that house. It's probably built around from 1900 to 1910, and it's a great Queen Anne style. So at the Tarver Avenue Cottage, everyone's always said, a bigger house stood in that spot and it just burned sometime. And this was the little cottage was the accessory house. Well, reading the deeds, I'm like, well, there's no evidence of a house ever being there. That lot stretched from Tarver all the way down West Spring to the creek. And the green bungalow that's there right now was built, and this little cottage was its accessory building. And they rented it out because the deeds talk about how it's a rental. So they rented it out, and nothing was ever built there on the corner. So, it's just like people are like, oh, yeah, house has been there and it burned, or, and I'm like, I've never seen a photo of that because I've got some photos of Tarver. And so I was like, yeah, okay, no house ever there. So it's not always what you think. And then at 426 West Main, everyone will know that is Eskews Market. And I know y'all noticed all the work going on there. So that's going to be some really updated apartments that are going to be called Hatton House. So I'm very excited to see those and have one or two of those on tour just to show how those have been updated. And the building looks great. That's got a very interesting history. It was built in 1933 as the Amanda Ann Tea Room. And then the Lebanon Wholesale Grocery Company was involved in it. They had Eskews on the square, and then they had Eskews number 1 on South Tarver and West Main. And then when Hubert Clemens Sr. bought all that out, he moved Eskews Market to that location on the corner of Hatton and West Main, I think around 1942. And before he passed away, he used to come in the office and talk to us because he had owned our office too. And he wrote me this really nice letter with a lot of information about those properties. So that was really special to have. But before anything was built there, it was a miniature golf course. Huh. And who knew that? And he told us that the little building that was on the miniature golf course is now behind a house on Green Lawn is the playroom or a little garden shed. Oh. So I thought that was pretty fun. So we've got a really good variety of houses and just a lot of history in the houses, especially at 429 West Spring. The Berry family, who owned the house for many years, I know Susie and Ed have a lot of items from Susie's stepfather, Bill Berry. So just really great great time. You can get your tickets in advance. You can buy them at the chamber office on the square. You can stop by my office at 324 West Main Street. Or this year, we are selling them online, and you can go to our website, which is historiclebanon.com, and purchase those online. If you go to our website, there's also a list of all the houses with some photos and a little information. You can start at any of those places you want. You don't have to go in order. I just put them in order because, I have to have an order to them.
And they officially, each will be officially open at 5 p.m.
Yes.
And I guess pretty much officially close at 8:30.
Yes.
So you got a 3.5-hour window to make the tour.
Yes, you do.
But now you have to have a little enforcement here. You got to have a ticket to get in.
You got to have a ticket. We have a board member, Historic Lebanon board member at each site, and they do what we say, they work the door. They see your ticket. A lot of people like us to mark their tickets so they can keep up with where they've been, or they can sell you a ticket at the door. And then we have...
It does cost $5 more if you wait.
Yes, it costs $5 more, mainly just because we don't have to give as much change if it's $20. It's just don't have to give as much change. And it is a fundraiser for us. So, but yes, so you can buy tickets the night of. And sometimes I get we have, a good group of people that support us every year and come on the tour. And, they'll like, I'm starting at number 8. And we're like, that's great because, you miss kind of the rush at the first one. But you can start anywhere. It's fine. And, make sure you go to the museums too. The Veterans Museum has a Huey helicopter in it. Where else you're going to see that? And the Fight Festin House has so much information on, the schools. It was used as a school for many years. The names of the schools right now are escaping me, but it was used as a school for many years. And then they try to tell the history of kind of women and children in Wilson County. That's a very good focus, I think, for them to have. And they've done a lot of restoration work on the house. I know they've gotten several grants. So it's a beautiful structure. Stop by and see it, and then see their exhibits inside. And but when you're reading these descriptions, I think it'll just give you an idea of how Lebanon was laid out. And I think right now we feel like there's so much growth, and that, that we've never had this kind of development. We've always had development.
Yeah.
We've always had, you just have to have some, control over it. That's the key, I think. So.
Okay, it is this Saturday from 5 to 8:30, the 14th Annual Historic Places Tour. Tickets online. You can buy them in advance for $15, $20 a night of the tour.
And I have to say that this year, our presenting sponsor is John Fouch CPA, and we're very pleased to have him as our presenting sponsor. He's been involved in historic preservation here in town for many years, so we appreciate that.
All right, Kim Parks, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
A good explanation of what it's all about, and all you got to do is shell out $15 and have your part in it all Saturday from 5 to 8:30. Come and go as you please.
Yes.
Stay as long or as little as you like at any
Exactly,
one of them.
yes.
But hopefully all of them will get visited in abundance. Well, that is it for Tuesday. Join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a terrific day.